Live.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good
Sorry about
afternoon.
that. I was over here taking notes and got caught off guard with the whole, we're going live and recording. B-Dubs, what's going on over there, buddy?
Yes, good afternoon from Michigan. Doing good. It's a good day. Things are just pretty nuts getting ready for conference. So no, it's great. We're excited. Good day. And ready to hear from this crew as always. Gotta love listening to Max Day every week on the Builders Call right now. He's in his zone of genius, and love all the hard work you're doing, Max, with recruiting and investing in agents. Love it. It's good to lock shields with you.
Love investing and love being invested back. Everybody just shares here at this company, which is an amazing culture, and that's what gives you that that adrenaline. You know, you just want to see that success for everybody and helping one another. And so I'm very thankful to be just listening on this call. I wouldn't miss it even if I wasn't holding it, just because I'd love to listen to these guys. It just excites me. Thank you.
And we're looking forward to hearing much more, guys. But the recruiting numbers we're seeing right now are unprecedented. The opportunity, the people looking for this opportunity, and Max helping pave that path for them to find us and get started in a career. You're going to hear so much more about this at conference, guys. A lot of explosive growth going on right now in the company. I was just telling all of these individuals on the screen right now that we're so fortunate. I just got back from a day and a half at an offsite meeting talking about conference, talking about some of the large rollouts. And truly, guys, the ecosystem that's being built around Quility for Symmetry and for all of its agents to be able to build a business that will not only last and be profitable for your lifetime, but for generations to come is truly remarkable. And so we're very fortunate today, guys. You've heard a lot about Mr. Geoffrey Miller. I know we have seen a lot of the numbers. We've seen the leaderboards. We hear Brandon and Casey talk about this agency and what they're doing that is quite remarkable, to say the least. I mean, over 20 writers, north of $120,000 in production, month in, month out. He's a top producer. He's an agency owner. Is one of the fastest growing rising agencies in all of Symmetry. Not to mention just the type of character and the type of people that he likes to surround himself with. Truly, truly phenomenal. And we couldn't be more blessed. And thank you, Geoffrey, for joining us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's an honor to be on this call today.
Yeah, man. We look forward to seeing you out in Denver here in just a couple short weeks as well, and continuing to see the growth that your agency provides. But we don't want to take too much of your time. I want to turn the reins over to you, buddy, and just tell you that we're so blessed and privileged and grateful for you showing up and pouring in today with your agency.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that, Todd. Yeah, I'm just honored to be on the call today. And by the way, I think I'm affectionately known as Geoffrey.
Brendan does like to call you Geoffrey, and I don't know where that came from.
I'm getting Toys R Us vibes over here, but I thought
exactly.
I thought they went out of business.
Yeah, I typically I'm not honored by that, but I'm honored that they that they call me that. So yeah, I'm just honored to be here on this call. Excited to be here with Max Day in the background here. Max Day has just been a huge help to my business, being able to hop on his calls, a couple of times a week and learn about building and the funnels and the stuff that he's creating, putting together. And yeah, just honored to be here. I got a couple of my great leaders on my team, great friends that I am honored to have on here today. So I'm just going to kind of start in. For those of you that don't know me, short information about my background. Again, I'm Jeff Miller, direct to Smoke and Joe Martinez in the Newbauer Cook hierarchy. So great group to be part of, and just blessed. So, but a little bit about my background real quick. Prior to coming over here to Symmetry, I owned a captive agency for about 10 years. I actually built up one up in Washington State, spent about 7 years there, sold it, came over to Phoenix, Arizona, where I am, and built up another one. So about 10 years with that company. And the reason why I actually came over here to Symmetry is because of the building, the opportunity to build something, a legacy for my family. Prior to owning that captive agency, I was in the mortgage business for about 20 years. So I've been selling for the last 30 years of my life, and my income was always based on my production, what I had to do. And after about 10 years with that last company I was with, I realized that if I didn't change something, do something different, that I was going to be selling for the rest of my life. And not that I don't love selling, but I wanted to create something that whether I showed up or not, I got paid. And I knew when I started looking around at the end of my 10 years with them and was looking for something I could build something for my family. And thank God I actually found Symmetry with some research and great stuff there. So the one thing that really excited me about Symmetry, the other company I worked for about 3 years before I came over here to Symmetry, had what they call a protege program. And it's kind of like our program, but it's not. It's where I would bring on any agent that was doing well could bring on an agent and into their protege program. And over 12 to 18 months, bring them from, most of them were not licensed. Most of them, or I should say, some of them had sales background, some of them didn't, but pretty much all of them I brought on were not licensed. And over a 12 to 18 month, I could bring them from a new salesperson to owning their own agency. Sounds pretty familiar, right? Except there's a big difference. I had to pay their salary. I had to buy their leads. And at the end of the day, they gave me a bonus if they made it through the program that would not even cover the cost of their salary for that year. And I was investing in my agents, spending a $100,000 a year on leads. So I knew that was important, but I get to build them from zero to them becoming an agency owner. And I relate that to this company, Symmetry, except for the big differences here is we get paid very well to do that, right? We get to help other people become agency owners, and we get paid. That other company, I got a one-time bonus that just covered their salary, maybe if I was lucky. And here at Symmetry, as we know, we can actually, get to the 120 level and bring them to the 120 level, right? And in our corporate overview, I think the average commission bonus that you get on a monthly basis is $19,000 a month, right? So how many people can you help get to that level? And that's really the main reason I came over here to Symmetry, is to have that opportunity. I love building agencies. I love building things. I've owned my own business for the last 30 years and I love it. I love helping people, but this is the first company where I could actually do that, help them become successful, and that would build upon my success. And so I want to go over 5 of the keys to recruiting and building that I found for my agency. The first one is really important, and it's the consistency, right? Being consistency in building. And I'm going to go back to when I started and help understand why that is so important. I sold my agency with that other company in June of 2020. I went full-time in July of 2020 and started producing. September, I started recruiting. My direct upline, Joe Martinez, said, hey, it's time to recruit. We started investing in recruiting. So we spent $1,000 each a month in September and October of 2020. And then we looked at each other and like, what results are you getting? I don't know. Neither one of us had really huge results after 2 months. So we stopped. Big mistake. We said, hey, it's November, it's Thanksgiving, December, Christmas. So we go into January of 2021, and we both looked at each other with some counseling from our mentor, Chris Cook. And he said, hey, recruiting and building isn't a 2-month deal. It's an ongoing deal, but it's going to take 6, 9, 12 months to really put something in place. So we started recruiting in January of 2021. I had 3 writers, including myself, with a total APV in January of 2021 of $26,944. Because we didn't stop recruiting 2 months later, we continued on through the year. In December, I had 18 writers and 144,000, right? It's that consistency of doing it, building month after month after month and continuing and not stopping. So consistency is super important. The next thing is super important here is knowing your numbers, guys, right? You need to know your numbers when you're building and recruiting. Max Days, he hammers on this every week on our calls, and I love it because it's so important to know your numbers, right? Knowing your numbers, how many interviews are you booking for the week, right? If you're not tracking your interviews, how many people showed up for those interviews, whether you're using the funnel with Symmetry or other sources out there, how many interviews were booked, how many showed up, how many did you hire, and how many actually got their contracts back, right? You need to track these numbers, because if you're not tracking your numbers, you don't know where to adjust. You don't know where you're lacking, where you need help. So, know your numbers. You need to know the cost per interview. You need to know the cost for each recruit, and you need to know, the cost for each rider, right? These numbers are going to back up what you're investing, because you're going to be investing in your agency for good. Third thing I want to go over is set the example for your team. When I first started, I dove into producing. I set the example for producing, right? I think my, last year on a, build 'em agency, I produced still over 300,000, right? What I was trying to do is set the example. And what I've done is I've created some great producers from that. But the next thing was to set the example for building, right? We're on a builder's call. So I actually, investing that $1,000 a month that me and Joe were doing, I invested that and I told my team, and they saw it, right? I was setting the example for my team. And that's what Jeff and Troy have come on and do the same thing. But just to set that example. The fourth thing that I want to go over, and Casey talks about this all the time, is the 2 boxes, right? You need to be producing 20,000 in production APV a month, and you need to be interviewing 20 people a week, right? You need to be filling those boxes up. And here's the caveat here: make sure that you're producing, because if so many people that I've heard, they'll become agency owners. They've got this small little team. They've got 6 or 7 writers, and now they become managers, right? They stop producing, and now they get the whip out, and they're having their agents, right? Hey, why aren't you producing? That's not what you do. You set the example, and you continue to produce, and you continue to build. And you set that example. What that does, you're going to bring people with you by doing that. And then my 5th key, and it's going to keep you sane, right, in this business, is believe in everybody, but count on nobody. I've learned that in the years that I've done other businesses, that, man, I believe in every single person that I onboard, that I work with, but I count on nobody. And if you do that, you don't put the pressure on that person you're bringing on, because the pressure now is let them do what they do. You do what you do. You set the example. And last thing before I bring up a couple of my buddies here, you have to realize that producing is like fishing, guys. Producing is like fishing. I'm not a fisher, but I know you put a worm on a fishing hook, right? You throw it out, you cast it out, and you bring it back in. Oh, maybe you got nothing. You do it again, and maybe that third time, oh, wow, I caught 2 fish at once, right? And you get paid in 2 to 5 business days, right? That's awesome. That's producing. Building is like farming, guys. Building takes time. You have to till the ground, right? You have to till the ground, right? Get all cleaned out, get all the weeds out, right? Get it nice and ready for those seeds, right? That's going to take you some time. Then you're going to plant the seeds, right? You're going to plant the seeds. And 3 months later, you're going to go, man, me and Joe, 3 months into this, we went January, February, March of 2021. And in April, I had 4 writers instead of 3 from January, guys. It wasn't like everything exploded. And me and Joe were sitting back looking like, man, I can see the farm at the green starting to grow through the ground, right? So we could start to see that. But we both looked at each other. There was no fruits coming from it yet. We weren't reaping the rewards. So we continued to keep farming and watering and farming and watering. And 6 months later, all of a sudden, I had 6 or 7 or 8 writers. December, I had 18 writers, and it's grown from there, right? And that's because I kept, I'm planting, right? You get to the end of the season, what do? You take it all out. Some people quit, some people stay. You till the ground again, you replant, and you're looking for another year of harvest. That's what building is about. You plant, you grade, you plant, you water, and you wait, and you continue to do what you do. Now, I have the honor to bring up a great friend of mine. We've been friends for over 20 years. We've been in, I don't know how many business together, Troy, over the 20 years. Some have been good, some have been not so good. But a little bit about Troy's background. He is a, I guess, retired commercial airline pilot. He did fly for the commercial airlines for years and years. In November of last year, Troy decided that this program was a better program for him and his family. And he loves flying, but he didn't love having somebody tell him when to show up to work, right? So commercial pilot, and I want him to, when he came over here, he wanted to build a legacy for him and his wife, Lori. He's got passion, and I just love him. There's three things that after Troy introduces himself that I want him to talk about. He is a warm market recruiting king. He is amazing at warm market recruiting. The second thing I want Troy to go over is, and we've talked about this, Troy, I love you, man, but you don't have to be a great producer to be a great builder, right? Those two don't correlate. I loved hearing with Ryan Miller when I was first in. He said, hey, he was never a great producer, but obviously Ryan Miller is a builder like no other. And the third thing about Troy that I just love is he's a great promoter. He's getting people to conference. I don't know how many people he can tell you the numbers, but he's, I just love this guy. I've been friends for over 20 years and just looking forward to our future together. It's all yours, Troy. Tell us a little bit about you.
Jeff Miller, appreciate it. The honor and the privilege to be able to speak with you today is awesome. Couldn't ask for any more. You know, it's all about follow the leader, right? Follow the leader, and it's Miller time. And so what our job is to do what Jeff tells us to do and just stay close to that schedule he puts in front of us. You know, Jeff brought me on here. You know, the reality is I told him no in the beginning because first off, it was go to people's house and get in front of them. And I just it wasn't what I was looking for. And then Jeff continued to go down the road of what Symmetry brought to him. And then they changed the game with obviously COVID and the Zoom calls. And then my interest started getting a little more serious on what he had to offer. You know, Jeff mentioned it. I was never somebody got involved with Symmetry to be somebody that was going to produce. Actually, the first thing I think I asked Jeff was, can I start producing now? Do I have to even do any producing? Can I go out and start recruiting? And so instantly Jeff's response was, absolutely, get started with your recruiting and we'll work on the producing. I knew that I needed to produce simply because like Jeff said, you can't hardly reach somebody if you've never done it yourself. So yes, I am recruiting and have done some producing for my recruiting. But the reality is I'm a warm market recruiter because for me, I get joy out of watching people get something more out of life, bring some of the things that they want to surface. And for me to share something that I feel is great, it actually brings joy to me. So I enjoy recruiting. I can't say that I enjoy producing, but I've always lived by the rule. I've been doing this building thing for the last 28 years of building different teams. And through that, you learn things along the way. And one of the things that you learn is you're always needing to bring up the conversation. And when I say bring up the conversation, it's not throw up on somebody, tell them that they need to come do your deal, that, and trying to convince them that you got the best thing in town. A lot of times it's just, saying, hey, to somebody that would be close to you. And I say close to you, I mean, within a 6 foot circle, I'm talking to somebody about what their background is, who they're working for. And most people will tell you whether or not they're happy with where they're at. But instead of asking them if they're interested, I always say, hey, if you know somebody, if there's somebody that is close to you that is looking for work or looking for part-time, and if you don't go at it with it's directed to them, it seems like it takes the shield away, and then all of a sudden they want to know why you're not actually asking them. So for me, it's about producing the opportunity to people that are close to me, around me, people I want to work with. I think that's probably the hardest part about the cold market recruiting is I don't know who they are. And if I'm going to be out working, I want to work with people that I enjoy being around. So the warm market's always been first and foremost what I've been doing. I have been introduced to the cold market. If it wasn't for the quality program and the training that we've seen in the last 8 months, I probably would have stayed away from the cold market. But what we've got with training and the max day in the lead program, and there's no reason why you shouldn't be cold market recruiting. So I have dabbled in that, and I'm starting to get some traction with that as well. But people know me because of the warm market. And again, even my team, I want them to know that it's not about them doing any more than just bringing up the opportunity. A lot of times I'll tell my team, if you could do just one thing, ask them if they are interested or know somebody's interested in a part-time or full-time job, that you'll send them a video. And I use the simple video, which is the animation video that talks about part-time, full-time pay. And I say, have them watch the video. If they're interested, I'll do all the work. I'll do all the heavy lifting, and all I'm going to do is just ask you to come back around and, vouch for what I say. So I want people to get started knowing that they don't have to feel like they're out there attacking their friends and family, but they can at least, put the opportunity out there to them. On the promotion, for the promoting the conference, I've always seen it in the past. I know it's true today, and that is that we need to build for the next meeting, the next big event. And if you do that, the growth that you'll have will be staggering. So, for my credibility, that, I'm going, that my friends are going, and if you want to go along with us and you want to follow the leader, you've got to be at conference. So I started buying builder packets. I figured that would be the best way for me to keep, focus on making sure people are going to conference, because I buy 10 packets. I need to fill those 10 slots, buy another 10, fill those slots. So I believe in conference. I believe it's going to make the difference in all of our business. And I think that you're short-sighting yourself if you don't show up.
Man, that's awesome, Troy. Such good stuff. You're such a great promoter, warm market recruiter. And by the way, I don't know if I mentioned this, key leader, Troy Stevens. That may be changing here as soon as Snapshot comes out. I can't say anything about that, but excited about that, excited about your future, Troy. And we're going to be on a lot of trips together. So pretty cool stuff.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Troy. I get to introduce my good friend, Jeff Billman. A little bit about him. He spent 30 years in the auto business, general sales manager, and don't knock him because he's in the auto business, but 30 years in the auto business, general sales manager. Here's a problem. He had a 6-figure income, but he's working 60 to 70 hours a week. And he met this nice lady, his new wife, and his new wife and my wife happened to be best friends for the last 20 years. And he was looking at leaving the car business so he could spend more time with his new wife. And he was looking at that captive company that I worked for prior to Symmetry. And his wife, Wendy, said, you've got to call Jeff. Jeff's been with him for a long time. He's very successful with them. You need to call him and get all the ins and outs to make sure it's a good deal. He made that phone call. 2 hours later, I was sending the onboarding link for Symmetry. That next week, he quit his job of a 6-figure income and booked his airline tickets and to the Chris Cook, the conference we had last September for the Cook Agency. Showed up there to the conference, not even being licensed, all in. So I love this guy. We've become great friends over the last almost year, I guess it's been, Jeff, but Mr. Jeff Billman. And he, by the way, is a team leader and moving through the ranks quickly.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. I'm honored to be here. Just I'm amazed that that this happened this quickly. I'm Jeff Billman. I'm direct to Jeff Miller in the Miller, Martinez, Newbauer, Cook hierarchy. And Miller's always right. He's so detail oriented, but I want to correct him about one thing. As soon as I got off the phone and he sent me the onboarding, as soon as it was complete, when I woke up the next morning, I put on my shirt and tie for the last time and drove to my work and quit right then. That might be one of the things. I mean, he had 3 things that make it for me a little bit different than Troy. First of all, I couldn't wait to be one of the people that could say, hey, this is how you do it. This is what I did, because I love teaching. I helped other people for quite some time build little sales teams on how to treat people right and do this and everything. It's counter to what people have a perception of the car business, which is true because the car business is counter to that. It's counter to Symmetry. In fact, it probably took me 3 months just to get over the culture shock that everybody here was so nice and so interested in our success. But really the systems are what are the key. I mean, like Miller said, we talked to him for 2 hours. I guess that was the ultimate warm market recruiting, although I was cold in the beginning. But I quit. I got on that course. I got the course done within 4 or 5 days in California, took my test, and then was on a plane with my wife to Orlando and got to meet all these wonderful people and took like 2 notebooks full of notes. And, I still refer to them today. But there are three things that Jeff taught me, or the system teaches me. Been listening to all the leaders every time I go into an appointment. You know, producing is important. I too am not the top producer. Maybe I'll never be on the leaderboards in the Symmetry other than for once a one-off, but that's also a growth curve because I watch every single month. It gets a little bit better, a little bit easier to produce. But the key is I didn't come here to work my tail off for 80 hours a week. I actually took a mental vacation, was like, whew, out of the car business, just coasting around. Yeah. And then you realize, whoops, you got to do a little work to get something, right? They're not going to hand you a 7-figure income for doing nothing, right? So don't get the wrong idea. And I think that's the key to my cold market recruiting. First of all, it's the system. All the people that you get to plug into, like Miller said, don't miss this call. Don't miss these huddle up calls. Don't miss this national call. So, you know, I never did. I was in the military before. I played sports. And as you can tell, I'm a little bit older than you guys. So I maybe grew up in a different era where if the coach tells you something, you just do it until, you know, you can't do it anymore or another coach comes in. Really, that's about it. I mean, later on down the road, you can use your own brain to kind of figure it out. But one of the first things you got to do is forget what you know and learn what they know, because they're doing something that's really, you know, wonderful, helping people. So I follow the system. I follow the system to produce the massive action, constant correction for the telephone calls and reaching out to your reaching out to your mentor. Jeff Miller called him probably 5 times a day, and they weren't all pleasant calls, I can assure you. But I guess the main thing is you're all in. You're either in or you're out, right? There's no sticking your toe in the pool. You just jump in. And in fact, that reminds me, when I was a kid, my mom, we wouldn't go in the pool. It's too cold. Some swimming lessons. So I grew up in Michigan. So she threw us in the water with our towels on. So imagine that. That was my mom. She was a great woman. But that, excuse me, that really helps. Sorry about that, frog in my throat. That really helps. And then the other thing is the cold market recruiting. You know, over the last 2 months, I was a little hesitant before this to jump into that. Like Miller, though, I'm just like, well, everything they've done has worked so far. So I put in my money and I got in the game, and I got to apply all my other skills. But I can tell you this, he's the king of, Troy's the king of warm market. I prefer to do the cold market because I don't have to answer to my friends if they don't succeed, because they don't have the same kind of work ethic or the drive. So at any rate, it's always this 20-20 box they talk about. I think they bring it up all the time. It's so true. If you can get that many, and I basically have about 40 or 50 people that went through, and 24 of them are still alive after 60 days. So your adage is correct. And that's it. Thank you.
I love it. Awesome, Jeff. Man, great stuff. Thank you both, you know, Troy and Jeff. I love this business because you get to work with people that you care about, you become great friends with. And I've built more friends in the last 2 years with Symmetry than I have in my entire life. So I love that about this business. And thanks, you know, Todd and Brian, and for letting me and my team be on here. And thank you to, you know, Brandon, Casey, and Brian for just really this opportunity that just awaits us. I love it.
Man, fantastic job. B-Dubs and I were taking notes and texting back and forth, man, taking a lot of good nuggets that pull from this conversation, guys. And just the honesty, how relatable you guys are, and the way that you both approach, you know, Geoffrey and Troy, you both come from different angles, attack the business, which both can be highly successful. Very good information, guys. I really appreciate you jumping on.
Absolutely. Yeah, appreciate you guys modeling the information imitation, you know, before going out and trying to innovate and do something different, right? Just the simplicity and just the character that you guys lead from. I think about our influence model, and we talk about people, you know, can I trust your character? And do you have credible competency? And the character that you all lead from just shines through, and competency, of course, is there, but just so appreciate the way you build trust so quickly because of being people of integrity and leading so well.
Nice work, guys. Nice work, Geoff. That's what we call you around here.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Yeah, very good work, guys.
Got Robo Casey there for a
Don, you
second.
ready to roll, buddy?
Thank you,
Oh, sorry about
Geoffrey. Thank you, Troy. Nice to meet you, Troy, and nice to
Thank you,
meet you,
guys.
Geoffrey, as well. Definitely heard your names before, but great to hear you guys speak for the first time. Look forward to seeing y'all out in Denver.
Looking forward to it.
Yes, sir, Casey. I think we're ready to roll. Would you like to start off with a little
Let's do this, man.
conference promotion video, perhaps?
Oh,
Let's do it.
let's do that. I'll bail out.
You should always go to conference because when you leave, you're better than when you showed up. You're going to be able to learn how to make a lot more money. You're going to learn how to be a better friend, parent, spouse, partner, certainly business person. You're going to learn how to be a better human being at our conferences.
I believe people should come to conference because there are a few opportunities in our life where we get to have an experience that allows us to drop the conditions and remove the conditions from our success. Where we can finally see something that's compelling enough and feel something that's big enough for us to say, no matter what, I'm gonna be successful because I'd rather know what it takes and find out if I have what it takes than assume that I don't.
If you don't go to conference, 96% chance in 6 months you won't be here. So it really depends on how bad you want it.
If I didn't go to the first conference, I wouldn't have made it in this business. When I went to conference, I really got all the dots connected that were missing. We can't teach people really what this company has to offer, like on the big scale on Zoom, right? Like that's really just for the mechanics, but to get the vision, that's what you get at conference.
Figuring out how to get to conference that first year, wearing a suit that was too big for me, sitting in the back far left corner listening to Brian Pope and Brian Delaney and Casey and Brandon, that's when I found myself. That's when I stopped thinking, try to get the best. That's when I started thinking, try to be the best.
One word about conference:
Education,
Impact,
opportunity,
gratitude,
inspiration,
belief,
Value.
hope.
Fired
Yes, sir.
up for some
Man,
conference.
telling you.
buddy.
I'm telling you, man. That's all we're talking about behind the scenes right now.
I was
We
letting
are
them
so
know
excited to get out there to Denver.
we were just at a little off-site meeting for the last day and a half, and I know Casey was involved too. And I was telling him on the builders call, Casey, they can't. It's hard to put into words sometimes. Just what this company is going to look like in the next 24 months, and the ecosystem that we're creating with its sole purpose to make a better business opportunity for everybody out there that's partnered with us. It's just incredible.
It really is, man. It's the calm before the storm right now too, and it's pretty awesome out there right now before conference. You know, like the weeks we're seeing in volume, the production, the leaderboards, just all of the stuff leading into conference. And then this is truly what feels like the launch into space for us. You know, it's been 3 years of a lot of trial and error, a lot of finding ourselves, finding the strategy that's going to take us into disrupting this industry. And it's time to share it with everyone and a lot more clarity. And man, it's going to be one for the history book. So if you're not registered, get on it.
Yeah, it does feel like one of those times. I was catching up with Jeremy Kubicek Monday. He's the founder of Giant, and most people on the call that know me know I was a senior partner. I'm an investor in Giant, great company. And so Jeremy and I were catching up. It was so funny to listen to him because we hadn't talked in probably, year and a half or more, face to face, and or Zoom to Zoom. And it was hilarious listening to him talk about, Brian, really feels like we've got all the pieces in place and we're just getting started, you know? And I remember it was like similar to your and Brandon's story. It was, it was Jeremy, Steve, myself, and a guy named Mark Herringshaw getting this puppy off the ground. And it really is a time like that for Giant. And I think for us as an organization, when Miranda talked about connecting the dots and just thinking about all that's about to happen in Denver with just understanding ecosystem, understanding how the different products interface, understanding the big picture about where we're going with data and all of these different components that are so vital and actually relevant to the you know, Monday morning of an agent's life. And we're super pumped about that kind of unveiling happening. So
extremely relevant for sure to everyone. Even if you're brand spanking new sitting in that seat, not only are you going to leave there, as Brandon was saying in that video, you know, a better salesperson, you know, a better mentor, a better leader, a better human being. You're going to get equipped with all of that stuff at conference, which is, we have some amazing content that we've never even shared on some of this stuff, especially around reimagining our sales process, which everyone needs to kind of be ready for. Because people have changed, you know, they're changing the way in which they interact with salespeople. They're becoming more resistant to salespeople. How do we create less resistance? How do we stop using the tactics that everyone else in the industry and every other sales industry are using and redefine ourselves as what is the future agent? You know, what does that look like from a sales standpoint? So there's stuff like that that's going to be covered, but from a vision standpoint, and what's coming and where we're going as a company, that matters to every single person on this call that cares about their future and their career. It really matters for everyone to understand it. And our job at this conference is to help everyone understand it as clearly as we understand it now, you know? So get ready for it.
Yeah. Well, you guys are such visionaries, and I think it's important to say, you know, visionary leadership is important, but carrying the vision on a day-to-day basis is how the vision comes to life. And when everybody does that, everybody wins and everyone goes to the next level. So we
can absolutely move mountains. There's nothing that's out of the realm of possibility when you know, 5,000 of us get together in Denver and come out of there extremely clear with the vision of where we're going as a company. And it matters. We're talking about, you know, generational wealth opportunities for so many people. I mean, if you're brand spanking new in our company right now, you'll be sitting in that seat, seeing something that, and our belief will be an accelerant past anything we've ever seen. You look at the, you know, closing in on 300 agency owners in our company, and, you know, handfuls of guys making mid and deep six figures, you know, a handful making 7 figures plus. Like, that took us 12 years, 13 years to do that, which is quite fast. And you know, by the industry standards, we've broken so many records and that kind of thing. You guys haven't seen anything yet. What's coming in the next 24 months, as Spivey and Brian are saying, it's just get ready for an accelerant. I mean, it's the only way to describe it would be like probably what it would feel like to be on a rocket ship. We're getting ready to take off.
Boom time.
Love it.
Right.
All right.
We'll jump
leaderboards.
Do some leaderboards. We're trying my new internet connection to see if it's any faster, but